Good morning, Guardians. The Hijabi Gamer here, and it's Tuesday already, which is kind of cool. It's Tuesday now. So we have another weekly reset video for Original Destiny. This is the first Destiny. And let me add, because people seem to keep pointing this out, just because I play Original Destiny doesn't mean I don't play Destiny 2. Okay? Okay. I got the Collector's Edition for the Witch Queen right over here. Okay? Good. Anyway, it's time for another weekly reset for Destiny 1. Unfortunately, I do not have the bosses for Challenge of the Elders, mostly because a certain somebody hacked up a hairball. I will not say any names, but it's pretty obvious. The one person covered in fur decided to hack up a ball of fur and then expected me to immediately feed her after the fact. Yeah. But I did. Anyway, this week in Destiny, the Nightfall looks like a cool one. I like that Nightfall. I did solo it. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead of myself. As we can see, for Crucible, we have Combined Arms, which is basically all-out warfare with vehicles. Destroy the enemy. Crush your enemies with 100 tons of plated hull and munitions fire. I've got mixed things about Crucible. I always pin comments from people who talk about things like the state of Crucible so people know what's going on. So, I love hearing from people. Yesterday, unfortunately, I left my phone at home. The only way I can answer comments or even see comments on YouTube at work is with my phone because the Wi-Fi there, it's weird. You can't see comments. So yesterday, I left my phone home. I noticed that I did get comments on one of my community tabs. I will be responding to those. I try to respond to comments or at the very least read them and pin important comments. Anyway, so Combined Arms, you get a Treasure of Ages box, 10 legendary marks. Remember, only a maximum of 200 legendary marks you can carry. So right now, I can only get 30 more. Okay, anyway, in addition, we have Weekly Story Playlist, one of my favorite things. I like the Weekly Story Playlist, but then I like the fact that you don't even need the Weekly Story Playlist because you can literally pick anything you want to do off the map. I would love this in Destiny 2. I would also love all the content they took away, but I like this. I really like this. I think this just adds so much more to Destiny. But then you have the Weekly Story Playlist, which I was going to say Earth and the Moon, because last week was Rise of Iron, so this week it's Earth and the Moon. So it's basically all the early missions at the beginning of the game, except the first one. The only one you will never be able to play unless you create a new character is the first mission in the game. That one won't come up on the Weekly Story Playlist. It will not come up on the map. The only way is if you create a new character. Like Homecoming for the Red War, which I loved Homecoming. When the beta came out, I kept deleting characters so I could keep playing Homecoming. Anyway, the modifiers are you're always going to have Heroic. I mean, it's called the Heroic Story Playlist. So more enemies, and they're more aggressive because you're running the mission again, and they're pissed at you for doing that. Then you have Arc Burn. Arc damage from any source is greatly increased. And you have Small Arms. So some really great stuff you can use is Zalo Supercell or Fang of Iryut. These are the adept weapons that come only from the raids. They will never drop from Zur, which are primary weapons with elemental burns. Fang of Iryut or Zala Supercell are among the Arc primary exotics, which would be great for this. It would just melt enemies because you got the double burn. You've got the Arc burn and you've got Small Arms. So that would be awesome. Anyway, and as I said, I've always said, Weekly Story Playlist is the best way to farm legendary marks. You'll get 20 of them each time you run them. You could get over 100, which is great because sometimes you'll find yourself getting 35. Just again, remember, you can only carry 200 legendary marks. So once you reach 200, you need to start spending them. Then you have the Siva Crisis Heroic Strikes. So you have, you're always going to have Heroic again. More enemies that are more aggressive. Specialists, so special weapon damage is favored. Then you have my least favorite. Exposure. Guardian shields are increased but do not replenish. The best weapon to use for exposure is Red Death. If you don't want to have to deal with exposure, you don't want to just use Red Death because each kill heals you and speeds up reloads. So it combats exposure. It does work against exposure. So you will gain health when you use Red Death. So I would recommend, I always use Red Death for exposure. I hate exposure, but yeah, it's great for that. Then you have Airborne. Players deal more damage while in the air. Especially when you're running strikes. You don't want to die because then takes forever to respawn. I mean, sometimes if you die at a checkpoint, then, you come back, your health is full. But again, exposure, just Red Death. That's why I always recommend it when it comes up with Zur. Just pick up Red Death. It's worth it. You could use it in so many things. There's a spot in Crota's End that has where your health doesn't regenerate, and I've always used Red Death. So it's a great weapon to have. You could get a Treasure of Ages box and up to 30 legendary marks, which I always thought was interesting because Steve Crisis Heroic Strikes are harder than Weekly Story Playlist, but you could get more legendary marks through Weekly Story Playlist than Steve Crisis Heroic. But this is easy. But honestly, anyway, I would rather it this way simply because I'm primarily a solo player. All right. Then we have Challenge of the Elders, which sadly somebody hacked something up and I needed to clean it up and then feed her. So I wasn't able to do it, but I definitely want to do it this week. I don't like super kill bonus, but I love precision kill bonus and small arms. So for me, this is like the week of my dreams. Unless Val Araun. If Val Araun is up, I got to come up with ways to beat him much faster than I do. But Val Araun is my nightmare. So you have precision kill bonus, small arms, and trickle. Trickle is when your recharge of abilities is significantly reduced. That isn't a big deal. Primary weapon damage is favored is great. Precision kill bonus for me is just popping off one after another headshots. I love precision kill bonus. So this is a piece of cake for me. Just depends on the bosses. I will find out. I will definitely find out. Super kill bonus isn't my big thing, but this one, yeah, I like it. Anyway, that's Challenge of the Elders. You could get various stuff. The weekly Nightfall strike. So the Nightfall is on the moon. It's the one with Tanix. It's the where is it? Not the blighted. It's not the blighted chalice. That's not it. I think it's this. The Shadow Thief. So it's the one that has Tanix coming back with Siva. So it's like you do damage with him, and then at some point you have to destroy the Siva nodes, or he becomes like immune. And then you fight him again, and then it's like I think 2 rounds of Siva nodes, and there's like 1 round with I think Vandals, and the second round there are Captains. But you have to defeat the Siva nodes. I did solo it. I think I ran Void. That's the problem. I'm trying to remember because a lot of these Nightfalls I did solo. But I did it several years ago. And you memorize the location of all the enemies. And you have a strategy for the boss so you can do it. And now it's like I'm trying to remind myself how I did all these bosses. So I did do him. I did solo him. But I can't remember. What did I run? Did I run Void so I could go invisible? Or did I run Arc, or did I run Solar? I might have run Void. Because there was a time where I did a lot of Void. I ran Void a lot because of the invisibility, which was a great thing to have. So I did for a long time run a lot of Void. But now I do a lot of Golden Gun because it's great against the bosses. But I don't remember. So I need to practice that. But Shadow Thief, yeah, it's the second version. I mean, it's Tanix, basically. Just Siva Tanix. So the modifiers for the weekly Nightfall strike are, let's see, epic, so heavily shielded and highly aggressive enemies. So basically heroic on steroids. Then you have brawler, guardian melee damage is greatly increased. That includes your throwing knife. I always mention this. Your throwing knife is considered melee, and I always recommend if you're going gunslinger to go with knife juggler, because precision kills with your throwing knife immediately resets his cooldown. Just keep in mind, shanks do not count as a precision kill. It's important. Shanks are not a precision kill. So if you hit it with your knife, it's not going to immediately reset because it's not a precision kill. Grounded, players take more damage while airborne. Something just to keep in mind. Chaff, player radar is disabled. You know, if it comes to disadvantaged modifiers, this one isn't that bad. Sometimes it helps, but especially if you start memorizing where the enemies are, if you've done the strike enough, it's not that big a deal. There's a lot of things worse than chaff. Then finally, Ironclad. Like Ironclad, more enemies have shields. So this isn't that bad, really. No exposure. There are no burns, though, which would be nice if you had the ability as well. Melee damage being greatly increased would be great for the throwing knife. Yeah. I mean, it could be so so much worse. So, and it's 10x. So, anyway, I'm going to definitely try and do it because I know I did it. I just, as I said, that's the hard part. It's getting back into the whole practice of doing solo Nightfalls when you haven't done them at least 2 years since I soloed Nightfalls. Then finally, the weekly featured raid, Heroic Golgoroth Challenge, Oryx Challenge, War Priest Challenge, Oryx. That would be King's Fall. I really want to do King's Fall. There are so many of the Adept Exotics I don't have. I really need to get a raid going. I will be on PlayStation this week. We have to get a raid going because I've never beaten King's Fall. I will admit I made it all the way up to Oryx and then my team got bored and we stopped. So I would love to do King's Fall. I don't have the Touch of Malice. So and you need to do you need King's Fall. I need Vault of Glass for this. In fact, you know what? I am going to go down to the raid. I'm just going to wait for people to join me. I'm going to come on Sunday, and I'm just going to turn on my PlayStation. I'm going to run the Nightfall, and then I'm just going to sit and wait for people to join me in King's Fall. I know there's an elaborate way to solo it, but yeah, see, I need to do this so I can get... I think this is the one that leads to the Touch of Malice. That's not it. Yeah, I think this is it. This is the one from King's Fall, right? See? The Blade of Famine obtain the Blade of Famine from the King's Fall, obtain the Shroud of Iriuk from the King's Fall, the Ravenous Heart from the King's Fall. I think this is what gives you the Touch of Malice. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with other Destiny players. And I really want to do King's Fall. So, I mean, I wanted to do Vault of Glass this Sunday, but we didn't have enough people. I'll be on PlayStation this week. It's Feline Revolution. Obviously, I like cats. I will be on PlayStation 4. Like I said, really want to do King's Fall. Haven't done it in years. You know, it's been a very long time. But, anyway, hope to see you in the tower. And again, Feline Revolution. Feline Revolution.